What was that?
Perfect. You want to be that guy?
Wow.
Good morning.
What up? Welcome
Monday
to
morning.
Decentralized TV. This is Crypto and Coffee. We talk about crypto. We drink about coffee. I'm the Data Lord. This is Jaime, and we're going to talk about the news today. How's that
We
sound?
got Ann Temporello and Indo Crypto in
yeah.
the house this morning.
What-
Good morning.
What up, Annie? I see you. And my boy.
All the builders are present.
So, I'm not going to delay. I'm just going to get right into it. We're just going to go for it, bud.
Let's go.
Let's go for it, bud. And some people might be like, hey, Brandon, you look really freaking young. Why is your face shaved? And why is your hair short? And I'll say, I donated my hair to Lux Love. Thanks for asking. You should look into that charity too if you are wanting to donate your long hair.
Yep. My daughter's done it. My wife's done it. It brings happiness to a lot of people. Trust me.
Some people going through hell, they might as well look good doing it.
Do your best.
Yeah. So let's see here. The markets are pretty flat. And that's okay. Last 24 hours, kind of nothing's showing any major action on the high volume. And on the 7-day, I think that's really where the action and focus should be at this current moment is
and on the weekly also.
Bitcoin pulled back, right? Pulled back 7%. Ethereum pulled back 4.8%. We have Ripple pulling back 9%, Cardano almost 6%, Dogecoin 4%, Polygon 8%, and Solana 9.5%. So why is the market pulling back? Good question.
I will tell you.
Yeah, Jaime is going to whip it out and show everybody. Like, that's not what I said.
Here we go. Whip it out, baby. It's a big one, guys. So we discussed this. We've been discussing it for a while in terms of this cinder block ceiling where we went up into, hit, and pulled back. One of my concerns I was looking at is precisely this bearish engulfing that we're seeing at this very moment. Usually that points to a reversal. So we come back down. And sure enough, it closed in those terms below. So this big red one is larger than the previous green one, and it engulfed it coming down. Investopedia, look up bearish engulfing, bullish engulfing, and you'll see what this means in full detail. But the big question is, how far? Where do we find our supports now? Now that we tested the ceiling, confirmed it as resistance, and mind you, this is a massive resistance. So if I zoom out on this chart, you can see this is where Bitcoin bounced multiple times until it broke down. And this is a yearly, quarterly, 6-month, and monthly ceiling that we slammed into. Hit it, went right past it, and now came back down, confirming it as really strong resistance, which is to be expected. Here's the important thing that occurred back in March. Don't forget, we really broke through the 50 and the 200 weekly moving average. This is a very bullish signal right here. It broke above. Of course, the largest resistance is at this point. So where do we expect a bounce? A nice little bounce. Once you see these type of movements where it confirms almost a trend reversal, and we will have it confirmed how this 200 weekly moving average must prove itself as support. So we are now tracing back. I've had this little hand pointing to the 200 since forever, ever since we broke it. And we are now coming back to it. So Bitcoin this week must stay above 26,000 more or less, rounded up to 26,000 is where we should see a nice little bounce and come back up. So if we're looking at a trend, meaning where we will range up and down and build a nice market structure, it should be within these two. From the bottom, meaning somewhere between 26,000 and the top, which we tested and confirmed as resistance, 29,000 region, almost 30,000 region. We should see Bitcoin in this range. Now, how do you confirm this? We always look for convergence where we see multiple indicators showing the same thing. So I'm about to lay down what's called the Gaussian channel, but at the weekly level. So here it comes, and here we are. The Gaussian channel, just so you guys have a perspective of how powerful or how important it is, you can actually see in the past how it lands as support, and then when we fall into it, this median is a powerful location where the price works through it. It'll try to break above it, if it doesn't make it, it breaks down. And then we have these lows, and the 200 weekly moving average has always proven to be the floor until now. So now at this point, here's what we're looking at. We fell below the 200 weekly moving average, tried to stay above it, and stayed down. We had the weekly collapse on the FTX. Now in January, we began this run up, and look how price action, it tapped the 200, came back down, tried to break through it again, came back down, did that reversal back in March, and now slammed right through it all the way up to that median. I mean, look how beautiful. It tapped that median of the Gaussian channel, and now the Gaussian is starting to curve up. This is what we're watching now. I'm going to zoom into this level, and this is why this level is so important. Look at that median. It's coming down precisely to this 200 weekly moving average. So at this moment, these two, although they're painted in red, they are actually very strong support. So we should see a nice slight bounce up, either to range Bitcoin through this region until it finally pops forward, or if it does not hold, now we would see a leg down, at least down to where FTX collapsed around 21,000. So this is the expectation for this week. The price action should stay and close above 26,000 by Sunday of this week. And then this Friday, we will discuss what the monthly is looking like based on this price action, because the monthly is the most powerful indicator. But for now, this week, this is what we're looking at. It should come down, and once it tests support and it proves it's going to sit here for a little while, you should see the alts and Ethereum start climbing back up. So that's what we're looking at for this week. Back to you at the studio, sir.
Yeah, that's pretty massive, actually. I didn't follow that Gaussian intersection between the.
It's pretty good. Yep. It's like that dithering that you explained what the Gaussian is. It really shows you where good resistance and supports are for price action, and especially on the weekly, these are strong. So the fact that Bitcoin struggled to get past the median and finally ran up, tested the top, and now we're coming back to that point, and it's intersecting with the 200 weekly, that's a good floor, guys. That's as solid as the ceiling we're trying to break through. So we'll see. Everything is probabilities here, so nothing is set in stone. So watch yourself as you go in. What's the safest bet? Dollar cost averaging. So if you can do that, continue this. This is more for the traders, what we're looking at now.
Yeah, you better watch your butt, man. Okay. Oh goodness. So yeah, that's quite useful. This page is loading like crap. It's so weird. It's like they know that I'm zooming in and zooming out of stuff. Let's see here. So our first article for the day. Solana launches emissions dashboard to spur blockchain carbon footprint transparency. So I think you're going to see this as a trend. There's going to be a lot of cryptocurrencies that are trying really hard to kind of differentiate themselves, one from Bitcoin and two from the other sectors, right? So there's a lot of, I mean, I unfortunately are more privy to this than we care to be. But
well, we're builders. You got to find out what the hell is going on.
It is what industry. It is. Now, hear me clearly. I think being, ecologically responsible is a good thing. I think you have to do that as a business owner. I think the concern for people to be obsessed about like virtue signaling, that's what I have an issue with. Okay. And my concern here is that this is virtue signaling off the bat, right? Solana launches emissions dashboard to spur blockchain carbon footprint transparency. First off, Solana is not, hear this clearly, Solana is not proof of work. They're proof of stake. And so their carbon footprint's going to be negligible anyway. They're also not a very big network compared to other cryptocurrency networks. And so they're not going to be very, very big anyway. And so I think they clearly know this will bode well for them. And that's why they're flexing on it, because people who don't know much about crypto or technology or emissions and you know, ecologic impacts from technology, I think they'll just see this and go, oh, Solana good. I like Solana, you know.
Yeah. And now it's important to remember what is triggering these guys. So you have Energy Web Token, you have Solana now getting into this carbon footprint, and you have a few other tokens that are getting into this carbon footprint. Why? Well, if you look at what we've spoken of way back since last year, the middle of the year, spring is when it was announced. BlackRock is they are actually going to deploy spot purchases for Bitcoin. Now, one of the things they mentioned in that announcement is that they will make sure in spot it's green Bitcoin. It's good Bitcoin. Certified and that this is green. So don't feel guilty that you're buying Bitcoin, because we certify it was done by renewables or low carbon footprint. So now this is almost like a Me Too, or there's a lot of people who are seeing the opportunities here, because for BlackRock to announce it and say we're partnering with Energy Web Token to do the certification of the green Bitcoin, you have others that have jumped in. Shell Oil also for Miami announced that we're jumping in. Who was their partner? Energy Web Token. So now all of a sudden you see Solana jumping into the same certification or transparency that we're coming to. So there is an opportunity. Not to put it down, is just letting you know the industry is building towards green Bitcoin or certification of this. So the building is occurring. The move is real.
Yeah. And so like what Jaime said, we're not opposed to what's happening. We're opposed to why it's happening.
Right. Is it Me Too, or are you really leading?
Yeah. Do you actually care about innovation, or do you care about telling people what they want to hear so you can sell some stuff? And I mean, either of which is fine. Just be clear about it. But anyway, let's read it. The Solana Foundation has launched a real-time carbon emissions tracker to monitor the Solana blockchain. Well, real-time is pretty cool. I think that's nice. The Solana Foundation, in collaboration with data platform Tricarbonera, announced the launch of a real-time tracking dashboard to measure carbon emissions on the Solana blockchain. So here's kind of what it looks like, I'm guessing. Today, the Solana Foundation is leading the charge in the climate fight by making this language here, the rhetoric, kind of shows that they're politically motivated. In the climate fight by making one of the first blockchains to have its emissions measured in real time, thanks to a new data portal created with Tricarbonera. So pander. Let's see. According to a blog post from the foundation, this represents the first major smart contract blockchain to measure carbon emissions in real time. The organization hopes this will spur a trend towards carbon emission transparency in the blockchain ecosystem. The Solana Foundation hopes to set a new standard for measuring emissions in blockchain by publishing this data. So this piece here, I actually bite on. I think that has some merit. Like,
they put the flag on that moon.
Hey, we're trying to set a standard for other organizations, just to be transparent and publish their data. Cool, that's great. I'm really looking forward to Solana publishing their decentralization of power data. That once you have that, I'm really interested in what you have to say. Until then, it's like Visa publishing it. It's like, yeah, is it the whole story though? The new dashboard can be found on the Solana Climate website. Trackers there currently display the total node count, megawatt hours, total carbon emission average, and marginal use, alongside numerous other indicators. Okay. The new dashboard also contains several emissions comparison charts where users can view side-by-side conversions depicting Solana usage versus numerous other emissions producing activities. So they're comparing themselves to a lot of other people is what I just picked up on that. Did you see that too?
Yep. Yeah. Of course, they
This
picked
is
the chunky ones.
yeah, and that's what we'll take a look at this. And I haven't dug through this site yet, so we're doing it live. If it shows a big old inappropriate thing, I can't tell you if it's Solana climate. Yeah. So it looks like they have number of validators, RPC nodes, cool, total megawatts, emissions. Here's what they compare it to. Google search, 1 hour of using LED light bulb. What? I guess. Fully charging iPhone battery, 1 Ethereum transaction post-merge, 1 hour of working on a computer monitor. Are they shaming people for having computer monitors? Like, what's the angle on this?
I think they're just trying to compare how much carbon is consumed for that one action.
Okay. Yeah.
So one Bitcoin transaction, they're saying, if you notice, that's the...
They're trying to shit on Bitcoin here.
Yeah.
Watch where you're stepping here, pal. Energy usage comparison of Solana transaction. Okay, so they're trying to say per transaction. So 1 Solana transaction is equivalent to 1 Google search, pretty much, because it's basically that. And yeah, Bitcoin's proof of work. Of course, Bitcoin's going to have much more energy usage because it's
correct,
actually securing the network. It's not. And so I think that's what they're missing.
They failed to mention that it's a lot of green, a lot of renewable. It's like here in North Carolina, it's at 90-something% renewable energy. So it's not.
This is clearly a marketing ploy, but like what they're not comparing is how actually secure Bitcoin is, as opposed to how actually secure Solana might be. Because right now, like,
it isn't. It's gotten hacked.
Right. Well, and the other issue is Solana is currently a centralized power as opposed to Bitcoin's decentralized power. So these really aren't good comparisons. So on that note, what's up, Boston? I see you. Good morning.
Good morning, Boston.
What's up,
Chris Seiden?
Chris Seiden, I see you. Can't ignore my homies in the chat. So I don't know. Let us know in the chat what you think about this.
It's a marketing thing. You know, it's like
Solana thing.
Yeah,
they're leading the way in this. It's like, yeah, do you really? I recommend not coloring your examples. You know, and they kind of came in with quite a bit of color on that.
Give it some context. I think they should do that. Like, okay, this is the per transaction. Here we are. So we're seeing that, but it's not giving you the entire full picture. I think it's just whoever put the flag first, and now everybody's going to build around it with better iterations of the reporting. So
I'm going to make fun of them.
That's
what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And so here we are making fun of them. So I did what I said I would. I'm out here. Yeah, Boss Dog says virtue signaling.
It really
feels like that. Feels like that, don't it? So I've had a lot of people who aren't even in crypto ask me about this stuff recently. And so they're like, yeah, you're a crypto guy, right? I'm like, yeah. They're like, what do you think about this? I'm like, well, if you watched our show, you'd know. But here we are on the show addressing it for all of my beloved friends and family, asking this question. So BRICS nations are buying massive amounts of gold ahead of a plan to dethrone the US dollar. So should we be afraid of BRICS? Is BRICS going to, drop bricks in their own bed? Like what's the move here? Right. I've heard a few arguments that I find compelling. The first one is if a bunch of countries circle the wagons around gold and cut the US out of the picture, my understanding is that the US market is one of the leading drivers for wealth in other markets. Like we buy a lot of exports, right?
Yes.
Like we buy a ton of stuff from China, a ton of stuff from India, a lot of other countries, right? So my question is, like, if that gets cut off, what happens to these countries that circled the wagons? Is that good for them or bad for them? They cut off major parts of the market for trade, you know.
Mhm.
'Cause I think that's probably the biggest argument against the success of something like BRICS. The other thing is, like, what if actual gold back at this point in time with technology as it is spurs on some country like the United States to actually get into um, atomic manipulation, like basically modern technologies applied to the idea of alchemy, like that could actually happen, and now all of a sudden their gold's inflated, right? Um, there's quite a few things that could happen with this, and the other thing is too, what if some countries adopt Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's just a better store of value than gold is? Bitcoin is a global money; it's not a sovereign currency. What if some countries adopt that? What happens to them? Do they just open the markets to the entire world? I think we need to look at things and we need to look at economics in those terms, right? Of like, who are you opening your storefront to, and who are you closing your storefront to? Because obviously, if you only allow people with blue shoes to come into your store and buy things, you're probably not going to sell very many things because not everyone's wearing blue shoes, and that's a pretty weird like demographic to cut your market for. So let's see what this article has to say. A group of economically aligned nations are purchasing massive amounts of gold as they prepare to end their reliance on the US dollar, according to a new report from the US Global Investors. The nations known collectively as BRICS are piling into the precious metal and will continue to be huge buyers of gold for the foreseeable future. The firm's CEO and chief investment officer, Frank Holmes, says the massive accumulation of gold by China aligns with the theory that the world is on a long-term path to economic bifurcation, meaning there's going to be two different pockets, right? If you look back at the list of net buyers of gold, you'll notice there are 3 members of BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Out of this list, by the way, I'm really surprised India is on this list because India has been very friendly with the United States for a long time.
I think they're hedging. India won't drop the US dollar, but they're hedging their bets to not lose any market, either on the BRICS side or US dollar side.
Well, either way, I'm surprised to see India on there, just because I don't know if that. To me, it's kind of like, hey, baby, look, I love you so much. We should get married, but you got to first sign this, this document stating that, you can't take all my money. I trust you with my life, but not my money. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like, I don't know. I see it as what are those things called? Prenuptial agreements. Yeah.
This is a prenup, baby.
I kind of see it as like India giving a prenup to the United States.
Hell yeah. I mean, if I were in their shoes, I would do the same. Like, hey, man, can't bully me because I got back on this other side over here. Because the States has weaponized the US dollar. Like, if you don't comply.
The bureaucracies have for sure.
Yeah.
I haven't as a member of the United States, but so I point this out because I've been sharing with you for a couple of weeks now. We may be seeing the emergence of a multipolar world with a US-centric world on one side and the China-centric world on the other. Can we get our own acronym and break BRICS? That's funny. That's funny, Boston. For the first time ever, BRICS countries share the global economy. Well, hold up. For the first time ever, BRICS countries' share of the global economy has surpassed that of the G7 nations, which is Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and us with nukes, on a purchasing parity basis. According to a report from the World Gold Council, China has added 102 tons of gold. It's just 102 tons, dude. It's not that much. That's a joke. 102 tons of gold to its stockpiles since the start of the year. And gold is the key to this potential multipolar economic future, says Holmes, as it will likely be used to back the creation of a new currency that does not utilize the USD. The BRICS need the precious metal to support their currency and shift away from the US dollar, which has served as the global foreign reserve currency for about a century. So we have Jube Allen saying,
yep,
I thought I represented the country of Iran.
Yes, that's
Uh,
precisely. I
I thought
was
the I was
Iran.
Iran too, but it's
Yeah.
apparently India.
Well, no, it's both. Iran is in BRICS, by the way, formally.
Were they initial part of the group
Let me
when
find
the
that.
acronym was formed? Because I don't think it was. I think it was India.
Let's see.
So you look that up while I keep reading.
Sure.
So the BRICS need the precious metal to support their currency and shift away from the US dollar, which has served as the global foreign reserve currency for about a century. More and more global trade is now being conducted in the Chinese yuan. And there are reports that BRICS, which could eventually include other important emerging economies such as Saudi Arabia, Iran, and are developing their own medium for payments.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So I have an answer. India
yeah,
is one of the original, the eye of BRICS, but Iran in 2010 in Argentina applied to join BRICS also. So
in
uh,
2010, it's been going on for like 13 years now.
pretty much.
Okay. Okay. BRICS nations are reportedly in the earliest stages of designing a new currency that aims to end global dependence on the dollar. I have mixed feelings about this. I think depending on how it's executed, it could be really good. I don't think the U.S. currency probably should be weaponized as it currently is, because right now it's being
Yes.
used
This is
as a
the result.
military tool, and I don't really appreciate that. I wish it was decoupled. I'm not against the dollar existing, but I am against people
The
being
weaponization.
forced to
Yeah.
hold a currency that is inflated and deflated without their involvement or permission or counsel. It's just
Yes. And a perfect example of that, guys, is when the US dollar becomes strong, even economies that are growing, the dollar tends to leave their country because they'll earn more interest in the United States. So now that country over there has to earn their grow their economy in dollars, meaning they're swimming upstream. So it forces them to look at BRICS and other uh, forms of value, so their economy does not go to shit when the dollar becomes too
Mhm.
strong. So yeah, it's just it's an imperfect system, but when you add weaponization on top of it,
Yeah.
this is the result right here.
And that's what it seems like. So I'm really hoping we can just have these things coexist in a way that won't make the dollar disappear. Will just kind of slowly ease people into an alternative. And honestly, like that was the reason I got into Bitcoin. Like in 2008, Dr. Ron Paul, he was talking quite a bit about Bitcoin and how it makes good sense and how we've weaponized the dollar. And he was
Mhm.
talking about how or not in 2008, he wasn't talking about Bitcoin, but he got popular in 2008, was paying attention to it. Probably around 2010, he was talking about the Bitcoin. That's when it really got traction for the record. But he's pointing out that like we can avoid civil war. We can avoid war with other countries if we have a smooth transition into Bitcoin adoption. Because if people adopt Bitcoin, there's no country that is like, the sovereign ruler of Bitcoin. Countries can own Bitcoin and have it be part of their portfolio. But
Mhm.
if we slowly move to that, peer-to-peer cashless system, then yeah, a lot of countries and a lot of companies are going to get pissed off that we're changing and moving their cheese. But the big idea here is like you're not going to have a global collapse of monetary policies. You're instead going to have sort of a smooth ish transition. And so that really spoke to me. I was like, man, like that's totally true. I've seen what has happened. Like Hurricane Katrina happened and people were looting stores. People were getting violent with their neighbors. Like
Yes.
people they used to wave at on the way to like school, now they're looting their houses. Like it really completely dissolved and eroded civil society. And so
Yes.
like and honestly that's probably the most compelling argument for gun ownership too, is like, yeah, what if there's a natural disaster, or what if like shipping supplies get low and there's like no toilet paper at the store? We saw people got nasty during COVID with that. It's not a matter of like you have to be a conspiracy theorist. Little things can happen and people can just feel up against a
Turn
wall and
into
act like
animals.
trapped rats. And so
Yep.
in order to keep civil society, you just want to be able to say, you know what, I have the power here. You need to sit down. Like, we're going to calm down. We're going to figure this out. Like, you don't get to loot my house. You don't get it,
Mhm.
So I think Bitcoin has power and the capacity to do that exact thing, right? To de-escalate the tension. And that's, you know, out of the whole like Christian principle of love your neighbor, like that's why I got so interested in Bitcoin and general cryptocurrency, because I see that as the best and most moral way for me to care for the people around me is to help direct the way that we look at the world through this, you know, funnel of decentralized power. We have to decentralize power, because if power is centralized, one person can be the puppet master and make you all dance. And I don't want to see that happen. Right.
Yep. And in the case of gold, they can put a gun on your head and take it, versus Bitcoin, they can beat the shit out of you. As long as you don't say your key phrases, it can't be taken from you, you know? So if your wife or your family or your kiddos have that phrase and they're safe, it's safe with the family, and you just bite the bullet and go.
Well,
So,
let's not use that term, but
yes, but
I'm biting no bullet, boy.
hey man, if I'm ever in that situation, let my family be safe, and I'll see you on the other side later.
Well,
you know,
yeah, it shouldn't have to come to that as the point, but you know, if we can de-escalate tension, we want to, and I think that is, you know, regardless of your worldview, I think that should be the most. I really do think that should be our focus. Regardless of what your worldview is, we should be looking to live in civil society together, to love our neighbors well, to care for ourselves and our families well. And the way we do that is decentralizing power and making sure that the whole concept of if a bad guy has a gun, so does a good guy. And so the bad guy gets checked if the bad guy tries anything, because the good guy has the same amount of power to answer it, right?
Correct.
Or more power to answer it. So and that's how Bitcoin works. Bitcoin works with lots of people having hash rate all over the world. And if one person comes with bad hash rate, you know, saying that like this transaction occurred differently than how it actually did, then all the other decentralized power, all the other miners are going to check it and be like, no, that's crap, throw that out. And so like Bitcoin literally functions that way. It functions with it's that whole idea of like, you know, in old westerns where you have a ring of like 5 people who are all pointing guns at each other and no one's shooting because everyone knows it's mutually assured destruction.
yes,
It's exactly that kind of concept of like, if everyone's got a gun, no one's shooting the gun, right? Everyone's just kind of like keeping the peace.
game theory. It's known as game theory.
Precisely, it's game theory. And so Bitcoin works this way. I think certainly the laws of power work this way. So when we're talking about protecting life, liberty, and property, it works this way. And so for people who are anti-gun, they're misunderstanding game theory. For people who are anti-Bitcoin, they're misunderstanding game theory. So don't play yourself. And yeah. So anyways, that's the article and overall topic I wanted to talk about with BRICS. Don't spaz out on it yet. Don't get afraid, but do pay attention. Do make sure you are DCAing into you know, Bitcoin. I don't think it's a bad idea to have some position in precious metals. I mean, certainly their value is going to go up.
Correct. I'm into it. So
they're creating demand.
Yes. And the fact that in fact, and come on, even don't buy from Perth, guys. If you're buying gold, don't buy from Perth, because those cocksuckers sent a whole shipment to China that was they wrapped it, they foiled another metal with gold. So
yeah, it was some B metal. What was it?
Those dirty Aussies over there. Watch it. And so if it's Perth, double check your gold, guys. But outside of that, gold is a good hedge. I mean, you look for hedges for times of uncertainty. And if you can do gold, Bitcoin, and any other precious metals, real estate, anything, you know, that's not just cash, you should be okay, or hedged as best as you can. And of course, a gun with a bullet in it to protect your family. So tis what it is, guys. Stay safe out there.
Tis what it is. So our next article, and this is our co-headline here. BitBoy, what's going on with BitBoy? I don't care specifically about,
me neither,
you know, this fella in particular, but he was getting involved with like Binance and You know, we covered that greater story
FTX.
a while ago. So I'm covering this because it has relevance to the greater story. It's not just gossip. So let's read the news here. So crypto community influencer and YouTuber Ben BitBoy Armstrong has been referred to the Federal Bureau of Investigations after refusing to appear for a court hearing surrounding his promotion of FTX. Dude, just go to court. Like,
Yeah.
why don't dodge court? When has that worked out for one person? Show me one time. Crickets, right? Okay, but Armstrong gloated about his decision to skip the Florida court session, posting a picture of himself online on a beach saying, "I don't give a F." BitBoy released his tweet on Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern, precisely when the hearing was scheduled to begin. So he's, oh no, not in his nipples. No, I am supposed to be in court today. I'm not. Why? Because I don't give a F. He's going to jail.
Yeah, they're gonna go get him.
I mean, he lost some weight. That's cool. Good for you, man. Also, I don't want to see your nipples on freaking Crypto Potato. Now his nipples are on our show. No.
Jeez.
Keep her moving, bud. He released another tweet mocking the plaintiff in the case, Adam Moskowitz, who accused BitBoy of launching a harassment campaign against him. Moskowitz served as a lawyer representing the plaintiffs in a lawsuit against multiple YouTubers that promoted failed cryptocurrency exchange FTX, one which includes BitBoy. Others accused influencers, including Kevin Paffrath. Is that his name?
Paffrath.
Yeah. Kevin Paffrath. That's a tongue twister. Brian Jung, Graham Stephen, Tom Nash, and Erica Kohlberg. Following the charges, BitBoy levied a torrent of angry messages towards Moskowitz over Twitter, sharing emails he sent to the lawyer, calling him a pussy and a biatch, which is professional. That's how you do it, right?
He's always been professional.
He's gonna Pooh Bear next. Yeah, he's gonna be showing them cheeks in jail, boy.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I mean, if you've leaned out like this, I mean, you might get to some high places if you're Pooh Bearing in jail. Some guy might say, I kind of like those buns. Let me put some butter on your buns, you know.
Bro.
Let me butter your bread. That's what it is. I'm gonna butter your bread. It's from Super Troopers. Keep her moving. Moskowitz contacted his local police about the FBI and the FBI about BitBoy earlier this month, saying he felt threatened by what he and his followers might do to him. Multiple reports state that Judge Melissa Damian was furious about Armstrong's absence. The influencer's attorney, Jason Ridenow, said BitBoy could appear before court in May when he attends the Miami Bitcoin conference.
So it's at his convenience, guys.
He's going to jail if he's playing like this. Like, I mean, someone's going to butter his bread, I'm telling you. In response, Damian said she would issue a warrant for Armstrong's arrest if he doesn't appear before Monday. She also said she'd report his conduct to the FBI and order him to stop communicating publicly about Moskowitz, an order he has already violated. It's weird people don't realize I have real lawyers who actually know how to practice law, unlike the ambulance chasing Adam Moskowitz. Said BitBoy on Thursday, I'm not flying by the seat of my pants out here. So apparently he thinks he and his lawyer have a good case for why he doesn't have to appear in court.
Yes, but when you're summoned by a court,
I call bluff.
Yeah. When you're summoned by a court and you've been served, you better show up.
You show up with your lawyer. A real lawyer would not ever advise you to
not show
ditch
up.
court. That's really dumb. That's like
default judgment there.
You're putting yourself in a bad spot. It's like you already have it's like you're in high school and you're already supposed to go to detention and you're like, I don't give a F, and you post on Twitter about all that and they suspend you instead, you know. Like, it's like, you got suspended from school, good job, now it's on your record, you know. You could have just gone and
showed up,
zoned out at the chalkboard. Why wouldn't you, like, chill, dude? So BitBoy himself filed a defamation suit last year against fellow YouTuber Erling Mengschul Jr., aka Atozi, but later dropped the charges following major public backlash. I don't know what his game plan here. This is like Sam Bankman-Fried
good.
level
Yeah,
energy.
it's not good.
He's pulling an SBF right now. So what if his goal is actually to go to jail with SBF so that he can have a friend again? Maybe
This
that's
is
his
not
goal.
wise, guys.
It's
If you're summoned, show up.
Okay then. I have no comment other than jail jokes right now.
Yeah.
He's going to jail. Like,
We'll see that happen this week, I'm sure. We'll see the repercussions.
come on, bro. So anyways, enough about BitBoy.
Let's build, guys. Let's build.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm rebrand. Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. Ethereum has after Shapala, developers make progress on a Cancun Danube upgrade. So there's a new upgrade for Ethereum proposed here. Let's read. Ethereum core developers met on Thursday to discuss the next upgrade after Shapala Cancun Danube. Ethereum improvement proposal 4844 or proto dank sharding, which sounds like a band. You guys gonna come to see proto dank sharding?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, bro, I love industrial music, you know. I'm sorry. I'm sure Indo's laughing about that. It is expected to be most significant change in the upgrade. So on Thursday, Ethereum core developers convened to plan code modifications for the blockchain consensus layer in preparation for the next upgrade after Shapala Cancun Danube. You know what? I should probably produce some like joke track. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll produce a track that's like, what do you think this is, like industrial music in like the dank sharding thing? Maybe some like Rasta, reggae stuff in there, like Rasta industrial. Is that what you're thinking? Maybe some industrial reggae. Oh no. Say I won't. On Thursday, Ethereum core developers convened to plan code modifications to the blockchain's consensus layer in preparation for the next upgrade after Shapala Cancun Danube. After activating the Shapala upgrade earlier this month, which introduced validator withdrawals, thank God this took so long.
Yeah, it did.
Developers are now making progress on the next upgrade, referred to as Cancun Danube, expected to occur later this year. To make Ethereum cheaper for users, the Ethereum will implement new changes across Ethereum's two mainnet layers. The execution layer, which handles smart contract execution, and the consensus layer, focused on blockchain consensus via staking. So to provide clarity, the upgrade for execution layer will be called Cancun. The consensus layer upgrade will be named Danube, thus giving the combined upgrade its name Cancun Danube.
All right.
Yeah. And Boston wants to be part of the Rasta Industrial.
Let's do it.
Oh man,
He's got experience. He's a pro. Let's go.
In Reggae Man, he's got the Reggae Man experience. What's next for Ethereum? So, hold up. Did you even pick us up? So, they're making it cheaper. That's what this is doing.
No. Not the price. Not the price of Ethereum.
Transaction cost. Yeah.
Yes, correct. Yes, sir.
So okay, so all of this, you know how Vitalik lately has been saying, like ETH Denver and whatnot, like, hey, it's really expensive to transact. We know that's bad for Ethereum. I think this is exactly what that's addressing. They're
precisely
making it cheaper for smart contracts and cheaper for consensus.
Yes. So in other words,
two different financial improvements.
It brings users to the ecosystem.
Right, because after a bunch of people dumped their profits, they have to pull people back in to grow the prize pool. What's next for Ethereum? The most significant change anticipated in Ethereum's Cancun Danube upgrade later this year will be EIP 4844, also known as proto dank sharding. EIP 4844 seeks to augment Ethereum's scalability beyond the current capabilities of layer 2 solutions. What does that mean? It seeks to augment its scalability. How? I'm interested. EIP 4844 aims to bring, here we go, temporary storage and retrieval of off-chain data by Ethereum nodes to address the data and storage demands of blockchain apps. Okay, so they're basically putting more storage locally on ETH. Huh. If this is successfully activated, EIP 4844 is expected to lower the cost of transactions on layer 2 rollup solutions, including Optimism and Arbitrum, compared to their current rates. During the call, developers announced that a fifth multi-client DevNet to test EIP 4844 is set to be launched in the following week, as noted by Christine Kim, the Vice President of Research at Galaxy Digital, who attended the developers meeting. Notably, EIP 4844 has already been tested on 4 other DevNets. Interesting. So this is showing that the top 20 gas consuming smart contracts, and gas is the transaction cost on Ethereum. And so Uniswap Universal Router is apparently huge, which makes sense. People use Uniswap all the time. ETH transfers are second to that. And then Uniswap V2 router is just behind. Tether stablecoin is just behind on that. And then Seaport and a bunch of other stuff that I'm not going to read. So interesting. Did you pick up that this is actually allowing you to store files on ETH, Jaime? Or is this saying that it's increasing the storage so that gas is cheaper?
What it's doing is there's a backlog of transactions, so it's not storing it. It's more the transaction itself, the hash, which is the proof of the transaction. They can add more transactions per consensus epochs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we got jokes over here though. Ann says dank sharp.
That's when they shit the bed.
Yeah, you ate too many gummies, bro. Yeah. What's up, Just Bossy? I see you, girl.
Good morning, Just Bossy.
Good morning. Happy Monday. Yeah, or just transact on Cosmos. That's 5 years ahead of this stuff and talk with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think Tamp's got a point here in practice, but yeah. So appreciate the squad hanging out today. We got a full house, and I'm loving it.
It's always good.
So yeah, let's look here. ETH's on the move, and we'll keep you updated on how that moves along. I'll do a deep dive on the technicals on it, and probably on Wednesday we'll talk. I'll give my digest on what that means and what they're actually trying to solve, what the real problems are. But I just wanted to read the news this morning. So Trust Wallet users lose $170,000 to a vulnerability. So this is our most recent pwn in the cryptoverse, so we're going to talk about it. So Trust Wallet reported a WebAssembly or WASM vulnerability that led to what's that? What's funny?
WASM.
That's really how WebAssembly ASM is assembly.
Cheetah never assembled.
Yeah,
No.
WASM. That's what they call it. Jaime's laughing at programmers over here. Look, we have a condition. Vulnerability that led to a loss of $170,000. So in an April 22 statement, the crypto wallet provider revealed that vulnerability affected wallet generation by its browser extension between November 14th and November 23rd in 2022. An unnamed security researcher reported the vulnerability in November 2022 through the Trust Wallet Bug Bounty program. The company said it delayed this disclosure to prevent immediate attacks and reduce potential breaches. Despite the delay, the vulnerability was exploited twice. And led to a loss of around $170,000. I mean, as far as hacks go, that's not that bad.
No, it's pretty good.
There's usually another zero on that if there's a hack. However, this vulnerability does not affect the Trust Wallet mobile app users or those who import their wallets into the browser extension. It also does not affect those who created a new wallet address via the extension before November 14th or after November 23rd. So only in that little pocket between November 14th and 23rd did this apply. So if it did apply to you, sorry, dude. Meanwhile, Trust Wallet added that the vulnerability was unrelated to the one MyCrypto founder Taylor Monahan reported. Monahan had, you spelled this name wrong, Monahan and then Monahan. Had claimed that I'm your editor on live. Had claimed that 5,000 ETH was stolen from numerous users' wallets recently. So, Trust Wallet is to reimburse the affected users. Basically, they had a purse they could pay people for the pain, and they did. which is good. I'm glad to see him make people whole through basically a security insurance wallet. That's smart. The Binance-backed wallet assured that it would refund impacted users' stolen funds. The firm said it created a reimbursement system that would notify these users via notifications through their browser extensions. Trust Wallet further warned that there was still about $88,000 in some vulnerable addresses. The team urged users with these addresses to withdraw their funds immediately. Following the incident, Trust Wallet said it increased its security audits and audit coverage over the last few months to 5 times more to prevent recurrence. That's the type of response you want to see.
Correct.
A company sees a pwn and they're like, look, we're just going to basically get a really strong auditing presence here. We're going to hunt this down and look for any issue. And if there is an issue, we'll catch it quickly. And if there's not an issue, at very least, we did what we needed to ensure that that wasn't the case. Crypto-related exploits are rising. Following a quiet start to the year, crypto exploits have picked up steam in the past few weeks, starting with Euler Finance hack in March. DeFi protocols like Allbridge, Sentiment, 100 Finance, and Yearn Finance were exploited during the first 2 weeks of April. We covered that here on DCTV. According to DeFi Llama, these attacks resulted in more than $20 million in losses. Wired recently reported that North Korea-backed hackers used a software supply chain attack to target and exploit some crypto companies. The report noted that these hackers were hiding malicious code in the installer for a voice over IP application known as 3CX. So, watch yourself out there. Look, if you're not holding your own keys,
Yeah.
in a secure method like a Trezor or a Ledger, and we have a link in the description. If you don't have a Ledger, you need to protect yourself with ledgers and actually be in custody of your own Dirty Shovel Gang. And for those who don't know, Dirty Shovel Gang means you are holding your own keys. So if people want to steal them, they can't hack them over a computer network. They need to literally come and fight you with a dirty shovel. So
and they ain't getting it. So
look,
let's go.
For all those who know, you know. Dirty Shovel Knight is one of the best games ever.
Fantastic. So
yeah,
and you see in the price action also, Trust Wallet was barely affected by this. It's still in a growth pattern. Yeah.
So our last story for the day, and I think this is actually a pretty big deal. And Tamp tipped us off on this a while, but even before it happened. But Luna is not a security. South Korean court rules in Terra co-founder's case. So this is important because this shows at very least South Korea, which is known to be a fair and reasonable country.
And they're ahead of the United States in terms of legislation for cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, and Dirty Shovel Gang, I see you out there. So let's read about this and see what's happening. So the court says it's difficult to see the Luna token as a financial investment product regulated by the Capital Markets Act. So a South Korean district court has dismissed charges of security violations against former Terraform Labs CEO and co-founder Hyung Sang-shin. I probably said that wrong, but maybe I said it right. The court deemed Luna, the native token of the Luna ecosystem, as non-security under Korea's Capital Markets Act. The Southern District Court in Seoul dismissed the prosecution's appeal for confiscating Shin's properties and his arrest based on securities law violations. The prosecution argued that Luna's fraudulent transaction breached Capital Market Act in addition to crimes involving property fraud, making property confiscation a possibility, a local daily reported. A Google translation version of the court's observations read, "It is difficult to see Luna coin as a financial investment product regulated by the Capital Markets Act." So they can't see a reason why it should fall under that category, is what it says. The court, while rejecting the prosecution's request for confiscation of the accused properties, noted it is difficult to see that the property subject to the claim had been acquired by crime or an asset derived from it. The latest ruling is more notable because it states categorically the Luna is not a security. Other courts have previously used cautious language like there is room for dispute in terms of the law, and it is questionable whether the Capital Markets Act can be applied. The lawyer representing the former CEO said that the court rejected the prosecution's requests for an arrest warrant for his client and individuals associated with the case. He added that Luna could not easily be considered an investment product based on the court ruling. The latest court ruling makes the Terra Luna saga a case of fraud and breach of trust rather than a violation of the Capital Markets Act. You hear that? It turns this into a case for, is Terra Luna fraud or breach of trust? Okay. But it isn't a securities issue, is
Yes,
what this comes down to.
So the ones affected are either the government side, where they can sue. It seems that door was closed. Now the investors or the people who got involved have a chance.
Yep. However, the prosecution is still focusing on the securities aspect of the native token. It has also appealed to the Supreme Court against the verdict of the lower district courts. The judgment by Korean District Court is in contrast to the stance of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, which has charged Terraform Labs and its founder, Do Kwon, with violations of security law. However, Kwon's lawyers have denied the SEC's security fraud allegations. So it's interesting that we have some legal bifurcation. South Korea is like, no, it's not a security, and the people in the U.S.
No,
SEC,
not people. Gary, Uncle Gary.
Well, there's a handful of people in his administration, is there not?
Yes.
He has a cabinet, does he not?
Yes.
So those entities
have had their asses handed over on the securities claim 5 out of 6 times in U.S. courts thus far.
Yeah, right. So this is an interesting saga, to say the least. And fly by night here, real quick, I want to talk about PP coin. Just kidding, it's Pepe. But meme coins are rolling right now. And this is a non-article, and I wanted to show you the type of crap and drivel that I have to sift through. Someone's like honestly writing about this freaking meme coin, PP the Frog, and its price action.
Pepe.
I know. I like to call it PP. Okay. It's funny. It's like Pooh Baron, right? So this is a non-article. Like why write this? Decrypt, Navesh, Rust G, you guy, stop writing articles like this. This is a non-article. Oh my goodness. Why are people like this? We don't know. Thank you for joining us here on Monday. We are Decentralized TV. This is Crypto and Coffee, and we love you. Keep calm and huddle on. Don't play yourself.
Building. Yes, keep building towards a better future for yourself and your family.
We got a Discord, link in the description. Go ahead and join us there. We have all kinds of things we can talk about. We make ourselves available to have those conversations. Also, there's a topic you're like, man, this is really interesting. I'd love you guys to cover this and discuss it on the show. Please let us know. You're part of the show too.
Yep. Absolutely.
Sincerely, this is a community effort. Decentralized TV's not Jaime. It's not Daylord. It's not any one person. It's not Peter. This is a collective effort of builders taking care of other noobs and builders in the space. So
precisely. Always.
Yeah, you know, there's that.
Since 2017. Let's go.
Everyone's waiting. It is. Oh.
Happy Monday, Gundy. Let's go, Gundy.